Last month, I received a letter from Margaret, a 72-year-old viewer. She wrote, "I wish someone had told me what aging really feels like. Not just the physical changes, but the emotional ones. How the world starts seeing you differently, how your priorities shift, and how time suddenly feels more precious than ever." Her words stuck with me because they touched on something we rarely discuss openly: the difficult truths about growing older. Many of us have parents, grandparents, or are ourselves entering this stage of life. But we often focus only on the positive aspects of aging: wisdom, retirement, grandchildren. Yet beneath these joys lie challenging realities that, when acknowledged and addressed, can actually lead to a more fulfilling later life. Today, we're going to discuss 5 difficult truths that most people discover after 60, but few want to talk about. Understanding these realities isn't about surrendering to negativity. It's about preparing yourself to navigate this chapter with grace, dignity, and purpose. By the end of this video, you'll not only recognize these challenges but also have practical strategies to face them head-on. Don't miss the final insight. It's one that most people overlook, yet it holds incredible power in predicting what lies ahead. These markers could completely reshape how you see your future and add valuable years to your life. If this has sparked your interest, show your support by hitting the like button, subscribing to our channel, and sharing this video with those you care about. Together, let's make informed choices for a healthier, longer life. Stay with me until the end, because the final truth might be the most profound, and knowing it could completely transform how you experience your senior years. Truth number 1: your body will betray you, no matter how well you've treated it. The first difficult truth that hits most seniors is that even if you've done everything right, exercised regularly, eaten well, avoided smoking, your body will still show signs of aging. This isn't about normal aging that everyone expects, like graying hair or a few wrinkles. I'm talking about the surprising ways your body changes that no one prepares you for. Take James, for example. At 67, he was the picture of health. He ran 3 miles every morning, watched his diet carefully, and had regular checkups. He'd been active his entire life. Then one morning he got out of bed and couldn't straighten his back. The pain was sudden and severe. After multiple doctor visits, he learned he had developed spinal stenosis, a common condition where the spaces in your spine narrow, putting pressure on nerves. "But I've done everything right," he told his doctor, genuinely confused. His doctor explained something James hadn't wanted to hear. Some aspects of aging happen regardless of how well you've cared for yourself. The discs between vertebrae naturally lose fluid and flexibility over time. Joints wear down. Muscle mass decreases about 3 to 5% every decade after 30, accelerating after 60. What makes this truth particularly difficult is the sense of betrayal. You followed all the rules, yet your body changes anyway. You might suddenly find that medications you never needed before become essential. Simple tasks like opening jars or climbing stairs become challenging. Your recovery time after any activity lengthens dramatically. But here's what you can do. First, adjust your expectations without giving up. Instead of fighting against these changes or denying them, acknowledge them as part of your journey. Modify your activities rather than abandoning them. If running causes pain, perhaps swimming or walking becomes your new exercise. Second, focus on maintaining what you have rather than lamenting what you've lost. Strength training becomes more crucial after 60, not less. Even modest resistance exercises twice weekly can significantly slow muscle loss. Third, become an advocate for your own health. Track changes in your body, research your conditions, and ask your doctor targeted questions. The medical system often treats symptoms rather than addressing the comprehensive needs of aging patients. Your awareness can make a tremendous difference in your care. Remember, your body changing doesn't mean you failed. It means you're human. The goal isn't to stay young forever. It's to adapt with resilience and continue living fully within your new reality. If you're finding value in these insights so far, please comment truth below so I know you're with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell to catch more content like this. Now, let's move forward to our second difficult truth. Truth number 2. Your social circle will inevitably shrink. One of the most painful realities of aging is watching your social circle gradually diminish. Friends move away to be closer to their children. Some develop health issues that limit their mobility and ability to socialize. And yes, some pass away. This natural narrowing of your social world happens so gradually that many seniors don't realize how isolated they've become until they're already feeling the effects of loneliness. Consider Eleanor, who at 75 realized that her once bustling social calendar had dwindled to almost nothing. "I used to host dinner parties every month," she told me. "Now I can go weeks without a meaningful conversation with anyone except the grocery store cashier." Her best friend had moved to Arizona to be near her daughter. Her brother rarely called anymore. Her neighbor, with whom she used to take daily walks, was now in a nursing home. Without noticing, Eleanor had slipped into isolation. The statistics confirm Eleanor's experience isn't unusual. Research shows that social networks tend to peak in our 30s and steadily decline afterward. By the time we reach our 70s, our social circles have typically shrunk by over 50%. This isn't just a matter of having fewer lunch dates, it's a serious health concern. Prolonged isolation carries the same mortality risk as smoking 15 cigarettes a day and is more dangerous than obesity or physical inactivity. So what can you do to counter this natural social attrition? First, be intentional about maintaining relationships. Don't wait for others to reach out. Schedule regular calls with friends and family, even if it's just a 15-minute check-in. Mark these appointments in your calendar and treat them as important commitments. Second, embrace technology as a tool for connection. Video calls allow you to see faces and expressions, creating more meaningful interactions than phone calls alone. Social media, while not a replacement for in-person contact, can help you stay connected to family members' daily lives and reconnect with old friends. Third, and perhaps most importantly, continuously cultivate new relationships. Join community centers, take classes, volunteer, or participate in faith-based activities. Look for opportunities that involve regular meetings with the same group of people, as consistency builds connections. Remember that friendships in later life often develop more quickly than in youth. Other seniors are looking for connection too. Elizabeth, an 82-year-old widow, took a different approach after realizing her social circle had diminished. She signed up as a foster grandparent at a local elementary school. "Those children don't care that I'm slow or that my hands are arthritic," she says. "They just love that I show up and listen to them read every Tuesday and Thursday. And honestly, they've given me more purpose than I've had in years." The key is to acknowledge that your social needs don't diminish with age. If anything, meaningful human connection becomes more vital. Don't wait until loneliness sets in to take action. Be proactive about nurturing existing relationships and brave enough to form new ones. If you're still with me and finding these insights valuable, please comment, connect below. Your engagement helps this content reach others who might benefit from it. Now let's continue to our third difficult truth. Truth number 3, your sense of purpose must be reinvented. For decades, your identity was likely tied to your career, raising children, or both. You were a teacher, an engineer, a parent, a provider. Then suddenly retirement arrives. The children are grown with families of their own, and the question emerges that many seniors find surprisingly difficult to answer: who am I now? This loss of purpose can hit especially hard for those who derived most of their identity from their professional lives. After 40-plus years of structured days, deadlines, and clear objectives, the wide-open calendar of retirement can feel more like a void than freedom. Take Robert, for example. After 45 years as a respected architect, he counted down the days to retirement, dreaming of all the free time he'd have. 6 months later, he was deeply depressed. "I went from solving important problems and mentoring younger colleagues to watching TV and waiting for my wife to come home from her part-time job," he admitted. "Nobody calls me for advice anymore. Nobody needs what I know. Sometimes I wonder if I matter at all now." What Robert experienced wasn't unusual. Studies show that retirees without a clear purpose face higher rates of depression, cognitive decline, and even earlier mortality. The human brain needs meaningful challenges, and the heart needs to feel it's contributing something of value. So how do you reinvent your sense of purpose in your senior years? First, recognize that purpose doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. It simply needs to give meaning to your days. This might involve mentoring young people in your former profession, volunteering with organizations aligned with your values, or pursuing creative endeavors you never had time for during your working years. Second, consider what problems you're uniquely positioned to solve. Your decades of life experience have given you wisdom that younger generations need. Could you tutor struggling students? Share your professional knowledge through teaching or consulting part-time? Offer practical support to new parents in your community? Third, look for ways to turn personal challenges into purpose. Martha, at 79, found herself struggling with mobility after a hip replacement. Rather than focusing on her limitations, she started an online support group for seniors navigating the healthcare system. My difficulties navigating Medicare and finding the right specialists became valuable information for others, she explains. Now I help people avoid the pitfalls I encountered, and it gives my experience meaning. The key is to shift from asking, "What do I want to do with my free time?" to "How can my life continue to matter?" This subtle reframing acknowledges that humans need purpose at every age. Your contribution will look different than it did at 40 or 50, but it remains essential, not just for the world, but for your own well-being. If you're still watching and finding value in these insights, please comment "purpose" below. And now, let's move to our fourth difficult truth. Truth number 4. Your independence will gradually diminish. Perhaps the most challenging truth for many seniors to accept is the gradual loss of independence. For generations who pride themselves on self-sufficiency, acknowledging emerging limitations can feel like surrendering something fundamental to their identity. Consider Thomas, who at 83 still insisted on climbing a ladder to clean his gutters despite worsening balance issues. When his daughter expressed concern, he bristled. "I've been taking care of this house for 50 years without anyone's help," he told her firmly. 3 weeks later, a fall from that ladder resulted in a broken hip that permanently reduced his mobility. What Thomas couldn't accept was that asking for help wasn't weakness. It was wisdom. The loss of independence happens in stages that are easy to deny. Perhaps you find night driving increasingly difficult, so you subtly rearrange your schedule to be home before dark. Maybe you notice that home maintenance tasks take twice as long as they used to. Or you find yourself avoiding social invitations that require navigating unfamiliar locations. These small adaptations are the mind's way of compensating for changes without having to acknowledge them directly. But this avoidance strategy can lead to greater isolation and actually accelerate loss of function. So how can you navigate this challenging reality with grace? First, distinguish between independence and autonomy. Independence means doing everything yourself. Autonomy means maintaining control over your decisions. You can preserve autonomy while accepting help with certain tasks. The goal isn't to do everything alone, but to create systems that allow you to live according to your values and preferences. Second, be strategic about where you invest your energy and capability. Ask yourself, what activities are most essential to my sense of self and quality of life? Focus your independence in those areas and consider accepting help with the rest. If cooking brings you joy, maintain that ability but perhaps accept assistance with housekeeping or yard work. Third, embrace interdependence as a strength, not a weakness. Humans evolved as social creatures who rely on each other. Sarah, at 77, created a skill exchange network in her retirement community. "I can still drive during daylight hours, so I take Jean to her doctor's appointments," she explains. Jean is a whiz with computers, so she helps me troubleshoot technology issues. We're both maintaining dignity while getting our needs met. The most successful seniors don't cling to independence at all costs, but rather adapt their expectations and find new ways to maintain control over what matters most. They view accepting help as a wise reallocation of their limited energy rather than as defeat. If you're still with me and finding these insights valuable, please comment "adapt" below. Your engagement helps this content reach more people who might benefit from it. Now let's move to our final and perhaps most profound truth. Truth number 5. Time fundamentally changes. both expanding and contracting. The final difficult truth about aging involves a paradoxical shift in how you experience time. As you enter your senior years, time simultaneously seems to accelerate and slow down in ways that can be disorienting and even anxiety-producing. On one hand, years seem to fly by with increasing speed. Many seniors describe watching their grandchildren grow up at what feels like twice the pace their own children did. Annual holidays come around with startling frequency, and decades compress in memory. "I still feel 40 in my mind," says William, 78. "Sometimes I catch a glimpse of myself in a mirror and think, who is that old man?" The decades between 40 and now seem to have vanished in an instant. On the other hand, days can stretch into seemingly endless expanses, particularly for those facing health challenges or limited mobility. Hours that once flew by in the busy rush of work and family responsibilities now move with excruciating slowness. The formless nature of unstructured time can lead to a sense that life has both sped up and ground to a halt. This time distortion is partly neurological. Research suggests that novel experiences create stronger, more detailed memories, making time seem to pass more slowly. In youth and middle age, you encountered new situations regularly. In retirement, with more routine and fewer novel experiences, fewer distinct memories are formed, creating the sensation that time is accelerating. So how do you navigate this shifting relationship with time? First, create meaningful markers and rhythms in your days and weeks. Without the structure that work once provided, it's easy to lose track of time altogether. Regular activities, whether it's a Monday morning water aerobics class, Wednesday volunteer shift, or Sunday family dinner, create anchors that give shape to your weeks. Second, intentionally seek novelty. New experiences, whether learning a language, visiting unfamiliar places, or trying new activities, create stronger memory imprints that can help slow the perceived rush of passing years. Dorothy, at 81, takes a different walking route each day and photographs one interesting thing she's never noticed before. "It makes me really look at the world around me," she says. "And when I look back at last year's photos, I remember those days clearly." Third, practice time awareness without time anxiety. Acknowledge that your relationship with time is changing, but resist the tendency to count down remaining years or rush to complete a bucket list. Instead, focus on depth rather than breadth of experience. As philosopher Seneca noted nearly 2,000 years ago, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." This truth, that time both expands and contracts in later life, can actually become liberating when embraced. It invites you to focus on the quality of your experiences rather than their quantity, to be fully present in each day while holding your life story in perspective, to recognize that time is neither running out nor standing still. It is simply asking to be experienced differently than before. As we reach the end of our discussion, I want to emphasize that acknowledging these 5 difficult truths, bodily changes despite your best efforts, shrinking social circles, the need to reinvent purpose, diminishing independence, and the paradoxical nature of time, is not about surrendering to pessimism. Rather, it's about approaching your senior years with clear-eyed wisdom that allows for authentic adaptation and growth. The most fulfilled seniors I've encountered aren't those who deny these realities or rage against them, but those who acknowledge them and then ask, "Given these truths, how can I still create a life of meaning, connection, and joy?" They use these challenges as catalysts for deeper living, rather than obstacles that diminish their experience. Remember Margaret, whose letter I mentioned at the beginning? 6 months after confronting these difficult truths, she wrote to me again. Understanding what was happening didn't make the challenges disappear, but it did strip them of their power to blindside me. Now, instead of feeling like aging is something happening to me, I feel like I'm actively participating in this chapter of my life. There's a strange freedom in facing reality head-on. I believe that's the ultimate invitation of aging, to become more authentically yourself, to shed the pretenses and expectations that may have driven earlier decades, and to focus your remaining energy on what genuinely matters to you. The difficult truths of aging can, paradoxically, lead to your most liberated self. Thank you for joining me today on this exploration of aging's challenging realities. If you found value in this discussion, Please like this video, share it with someone who might benefit, and subscribe to our channel for more content that addresses life's important transitions with honesty and hope. Your engagement helps us continue creating meaningful conversations about the parts of life that matter most. What truth resonated most strongly with you? Or is there another difficult reality of aging you've encountered that we didn't address? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your wisdom and experience enrich our community. Until next time, remember that acknowledging life's challenges doesn't diminish its beauty. It allows us to appreciate that beauty more fully, more intentionally, and with greater awareness of its precious nature.